Okay, so this video is solving two-step equations, and with one step, there's only one inverse that you needed to do, and with two-step equations, there's two different inverses that we're going to do. So the very first thing that you want to do when you have a two-step, and you'll notice that you have a two-step because you'll have two operations. So here you've got, multiplication, so m is being multiplied by 3, and it's also being added 9. So there's two different things. There's being multiplied by 3 and then adding 9. So what you're going to do is go ahead and draw your line down by the equal sign so you can separate your equation to two sides. And you're going to box your variable, and you're going to ask yourself, what's happening to the m? So the variable is being multiplied by 3 and it's being added 9. Well, when we solve equations, we actually go backwards with order of operations. So with order of operations, if we were simplifying, we would first do multiplication and then we would add. But with backwards order of operations, we're actually going to do the addition first and then the multiplication. So for example, the very first thing I want to do here is look at this add 9 and try to ask myself, well, what is the inverse of adding 9? It's to subtract 9. So both sides I'm going to subtract 9. Okay, so then I have on this side of the equation, I've got 3m plus 9 minus 9. This plus 9 minus 9, that equals 0, so I'm just left with 3m. And that's equal to 36 minus 9 is 27. Okay, so now this will look familiar. This is a one-step equation because there's only multiplication, and I'm still going to box my variable and ask myself, what is happening to the variable? It's being multiplied by 3. What's the inverse of multiplying by 3? Dividing by 3. So on both sides of the equation, I'm going to divide by 3. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I'm left with 1m is equal to 27 divided by 3 is 9. I then would check down here to make sure that it makes sense. So 3 times 9 plus 9 is equal to 36. 3 times 9 is 27. 27 plus 9 is 36. Does 36 equal 36? Yes, it checks. So m is equal to 9. Okay, so I have another two-step equation, and I know that it's a two-step because if I ask myself what is happening to the variable, the variable is being divided by 5 and it's being added to 20. So what I need to do is think about opposite order of operations, and that means that I would do addition first. So I see that I'm adding 20. The inverse of adding 20 is to subtract 20. So on both sides, I'm going to subtract 20. So on the left side of the equation, I have x divided by 5 plus 20 minus 20. This plus 20 minus 20, because they're inverses, it actually equals 0, and I'm left with x divided by 5. And that's equal to 250 minus 20 is 230. All right, I'm going to box my variable again, and this is a one-step equation. My variable is being divided by 5. What is the inverse of dividing by 5? It would be multiplying by 5.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you restate the question?
So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. So 5x divided by 5, this would be like 5 over 1 times x over 5, and that just equals 5x over 5, which is x, and that's equal to 230 times 5, which would be 1,150. So let's check that. So 1,150 divided by 5 is 230. and then this needs to equal 250, and 230 plus 20 is 250. So does 250 equal 250? Yes, it checks. So my solution is x is equal to 1,150. Okay, so let's do a problem together. So go ahead and pause the video, write this problem. And so what I'm going to do is draw my line down the center. Try to make it as straight as possible. I know that this is a two-step equation because my variable, which I can box, is being multiplied by -4, and I'm also subtracting 10. So opposite order of operations, I'm going to want to deal with the subtraction first. So I look at the equation, I say, okay, it's being subtracted 10. What is the inverse of subtracting 10? Adding 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. When I do that, this side equals -4m, because this -10 plus 10 equals 0. So then equal 260 plus 10 is 270. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to box my variable again because it's still not isolated. I still need to isolate it. I'm going to look to see, well, what's happening to m? M is being multiplied by -4. So that means that I need to think about, well, what's the inverse of multiplying by -4? The inverse would be dividing by -4. So both sides I'm going to divide by -4. Well, -4m divided by -4, that equals 1. So that would be a 1m. And that's equal to 270 divided by -4, which that comes out to be negative, since there's one negative, 135 over 2. So I just simplified 270 over -4 to the fraction -135 over 2. I just divided by 2 to get that. And then, of course, I would check. I'm going to save the check for you to do, so go ahead and check to make sure it works. And then go ahead and get to our you do problems. So the you do problems that I would like you to do, the very first one is 2x minus 10 is equal to 360. And then the second you do problem that I'd like you to do is x divided by 8 plus 9 is equal to 404. So go ahead and solve those two problems. Make sure that you take pictures of your notes and then go ahead and submit those, and then be ready to talk about your you do problems in class tomorrow. Thanks.